Testing, testing. Wow, it got real quiet. Well, hello. Thank you guys for coming out to Hella Artsy's Talk. Thank you all so much for coming out. We have a full panel today, so I just wanted to like skim through and just tell you about what we are and why we're here today, okay? So you're probably wondering, who the hell is Hella Artsy? So Hella Artsy is literally just combined by 3 people. It's me and the 2 DJs over there. They are providing your music for the night, and hope you guys have a good vibe with that. So Hella Artsy is founded by 3 passionate creatives, us, fully bootstrapped and fueled by our own pockets. We don't have any outside funding or anything like that, so what we make from our day jobs gets funded right here. So what we do is we do pop-up shops, artist interviews, networking events. We try to bring creativity to life with no corporate backing, so just reaching out to local creatives and giving them a platform to be out there. Yeah. These are some pictures that you see here of our events that we have done so far. We started last year, so we've only had 3 events so far, and we did a couple of Austin studio tours with Jess. So there we go. So yeah, what we do is, like I said, we conduct interviews with creatives, produce creative networking events, organize pop-up art shows and markets, create community experiences where art, music, and culture collide, produce artist-driven merch, curate live music with the left field division, and give emerging and establishing creatives a platform. So what we'd like to do is showcase and sell their work and connect with other creatives. So yeah, this platform is literally just creatives built by creatives for creatives. So yeah, while we're here, we are talking about process. I know as a creative myself, whenever I work on something, I get stuck. And then I feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I'm having like imposter syndrome. And I just wanted to share with you guys that it's normal to feel that way. And I'm having all these people from different levels of expertise to like fairly starting out or just doing things for like the longest time. Like, you are not alone. So I think it's a good message to start with. So yeah, we're here to bring creators together. So let's jump into our creatives. So first we have Caleb DeVaughn.
Yes, hi, how y'all doing? My name is Caleb DeVaughn, also known as CD. I am an artist, been doing artistry for about 2 years. I just moved here from Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, I love painting, love creating, love to do what I do. God has given me the gift to create off of my imagination, off of my storyline, what I've been doing for the past 26 years of living. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica. Oops, did I push a button? Am I still there? I'm still there. I'm Jessica Lorenzana. I'm from San Antonio originally. Art started really early in my life, probably since I was 4 or 5 years old, and then took a huge backseat once I went down a medical pathway. So a large part of my life has been heavy left brain dominant, and I've been giving back to my creative soul more intentionally over the past 2 years, and that's been continuing to progress and change and evolve. And I primarily work with oils, oil painting, as well as some other mediums, but that's my favorite.
Hey, I'm Laura Worrick. I'm originally from Massachusetts, but I've been here in Austin for about 12 years now. And I've been doing art since, sort of like you said, probably 4 or 5 or younger. As soon as someone put a crayon in my hand, I'm sure I was making stuff. I went to a school for illustration and have kind of done a lot in the design world. I work doing design systems now and running design teams. But my sort of passion outside of that is still the fine art stuff. So I've been painting and making, and I kind of, anything that kind of catches my eye, I'll try out at least once. I'm gonna pass it to you.
Hello. I'm Sharon Albrecht, and I kind of have the same as everyone. Started out, loving art as a kid, and did all the drawing on everything. My mom saved all my napkins and scraps of paper. I still have that tub full of everything, and that led me to, graphic design, which is what I've been doing for the last, 30 years. Mostly in advertising and marketing, most recently working with Darren. And recently I left the corporate life to, I felt that draw. I wanted to do something more, and something I've been really putting on the back seat. I haven't illustrated or painted in years, so I wanted to really fully pursue that. So I'm on that journey right now. And I'm here in Austin area.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cori Teague. I am a visual artist as well as the fair director for Affordable Art Fair here in Austin and Houston. So we can talk about more of that if you guys want to go to that here in May. I started as an artist in 2013. I actually found art in college, and thank you to an amazing professor. He said, I think you should be in this industry, and I haven't looked back. I've done everything from curating to opening a gallery to being a full-time artist to now being a director. When I am creating, I'm doing oil on canvas, and I'm a figurative artist. So I'm very engrossed into the industry, and I've been here in Austin for about 10 years, and before that, California. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet. So cool. So I know we just did like a quick introduction with everyone, but I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper on their slides. So let's start with Sharon. Okay. I know Sharon's like, oh,
Thanks,
no, not me
Darren.
first. Do you like the picture I chose for you?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so we already talked about Sharon, but like, can you tell me a little bit of what we're seeing here in your work?
Okay, so what you're seeing here is, this is the very beginning of my journey right now, because as I said before, I was graphic design, marketing, doing all the corporate work, and something that I thought of a few years ago I discovered is pattern design and textile design for home goods, gift market, and it was just something that I really wanted to get into, but I never really had the time. So this one actually is from a tutorial. So, Lisa Glanz gives a great tutorial for all things illustration. So I'm teaching myself Procreate, and how that works between Procreate and Illustrator, and moving from different platforms. So I'm really a student right now. I'm kind of gone back to school in my 50s now. So, and this is for Spoonflower. It's just they have a lot of exercises you can get on there at any time, and they have challenges you can do so that you can, dive right in.
I really like this one.
Well, we went to Big Bend recently. This is the first time I've actually been to Big Bend, even though I've born in Texas and been here forever.
I still have never been, so.
Well, definitely go visit.
I've been to Taco Bell, so I don't know if that counts.
Close. That's close. So yeah, this was just fun. I think I've got a little whimsical kind of illustration style. I'm still figuring that out. Obviously, I don't really know what my style is. So everything right now looks completely different. So
Cool. Yeah, I love the illustration work and these like pattern things that you're making. I can't wait to see what you're going to create, and hopefully I can get a couple of things from you.
Invite me back in a year, and maybe I'll be further along.
Sounds good to me. Okay, Jess. Let's talk about your painting.
Ooh.
Here. You have such a vast amount of things here.
We got a couple up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are all oil paintings on canvas. All of them were made over the past 1 or 2 years. The most recent, probably the one on the top left corner. That one I titled Starting Over. what that piece to me was the feelings that exist after experiencing tragedy. And for me personally, I experienced my first great tragedy in life. And there are some beautiful things that can come after that. And I was trying to highlight that with this piece, with like the mystery and the uncertainty, with the horizon that's not really a horizon. Like you could ask yourself if the horizon's in the top right corner, I don't know. But the clouds are starting to dissipate and our rigid core is coming out. But when you look from far away, it's just this kind of nice, pretty mauve piece. But that's what that was to me. And then the one on the middle here, so I tend to gravitate a lot towards resilient plants, especially plants that have adapted to Central Texas. A lot of that came from my own exploration and landscaping and appreciation for what just naturally grows here. And so I oftentimes like to paint these special creatures like they have their own portrait. And so this is like a portraiture of the prickly pear cactus. And again, one of the things I love about cacti is just how resilient they are in nature and in their surroundings. And I draw parallel to that with us as humans. And so I title this Old Soul, New Bloom. And you can see like an old dead flower withering away, and there's some scars in the middle of the body there. But you have this new bloom that's coming forth, and all of it together makes it this beautiful thing for me. And so that's like a portrait piece to me. And then the top right, I made that in November of 2024. I don't know if y'all remember what happened that month. A new president was elected, and I was dealing with a lot of feelings. I was sad, I was frustrated, I was grasping for hope. There was a lot of empathy towards a lot of people that were going to be affected by the new presidential election. And I had a hard time continuing painting because I was so stuck in those feelings. And then I just found myself drawn back to the cactus again and their resilient nature and how it's just inspiring as humans because, they, like cacti, we can also survive in the harshest environments and still stand tall, stand proud, and let the harsh chaos around us turn into what beauty we want to create it. And so I call this piece standing. I meant to give you a comma there. It's like standing still, like we're still standing. Yeah.
Cool. I got two more for you because
Okay.
I
Here we go.
had to add more.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
We will go with the left here. This is like the largest piece I've ever done. Again, I tend to gravitate towards nature and landscape. I just find a lot of beauty in like nature's creativity. And like if you look like at a flower or the clouds, like to me it's almost like God's abstract art. And so I like combining like my own personal creativity and abstract with like nature's creativity. And so this piece is meant to represent like that bloom that's finally coming forth also in like this desolate environment. And like immediately your eyes are drawn to the bud, like this beauty that's emerging. But when you kind of take a step back or look around, you see all these other little intricate details. And the point of it is that there's beauty in all of it, in the desolation, the things that you overlook, not just like the beautiful bud that's right in front of your face. That's also an oil on canvas. And then the one on the right, that one has a little bit more of, it's also oil on canvas. It is an agave, which is a very strong, resilient piece. I call this, it's also a nod to people, immigrants, people who have come here either by choice or by circumstance, whether they were born here, whether they came here legally or not legally, but the point is they've created their lives here and they're rooted, and that just is, and that is something to honor and respect. And so I don't know if you've ever tried to pull from the ground, it's really hard to. And so underneath the painting, there's like a gesso layer that says unmovable. It's hard to see it from, like, without the lighting shining on the three-dimensional part of that, but that's like a nod to, our oppressed people that are going through some hard times right now.
Yes, definitely that. A lot of resilience, a lot of community. It's like on par for this year and what we can move forward with, So appreciate you. Laura.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Let's talk about your pieces. What are we seeing here?
Oh man, we've got a lot going on here.
A lot of things.
Okay, so starting with the left, this was a series of work that I did at an artist residency in Terlingua, which is right next to Big Bend. I was there for a week 2 summers ago, and I wanted to focus on painting, what I typically do topically, but really trying to pull colors and inspiration from the environment that I was in, which was being in the desert, and wanted to paint on reclaimed objects as opposed to doing canvas for this series. So most of the stuff was acquired from Goodwill or from eBay, and they were old like wooden plaques and things that some of them were actually kind of offensive, so I was happy to paint over them. That was that series. That was a lot of fun to do. And then the top piece here, those are 3 paper mache altars that I made, and those actually came from an interesting time in my life where I had fallen off my horse and gotten a really bad concussion, and I wasn't allowed to work or read or look at screens or watch TV. And my husband was out of town. My husband was out of town, so I was totally alone with the animals and couldn't do anything. And in my sort of altered mental state, I thought building altars was a great idea. So, interpret that how you want. I did a whole series of these, and they were just so much fun. It was such like a good kind of therapy and a way to be doing something and working with my hands and not using technology in any way. And then the last 2 are from my sketchbook, and these are just some recent sketches that I've done. I really believe in having like a strong sketchbook practice. I think that having a space to explore and just try things out and make stuff that's ugly and bad is super important. I think a lot of people think of sketchbooks as having to have this like perfect book of like all of these amazing things that you've drawn and you've created, but it should be for you. It should be ugly. It should be messy. It should have stuff that's not good. So the bottom piece is I decided one evening to sit in my chicken coop and draw our chickens, which if you ever spent time with a chicken, you realize that they don't stand still for more than like half a second. So it was a study in capturing their kind of form in like literally a matter of seconds and then going back and adding some detail. But it was a really fun exercise I've been doing more regularly. And the other one was just a, kind of typical sketch that I like to do of the desert, playing with different colors. I have a lot of different materials that I like to work in, but I think I was actually sitting in bed watching Antiques Roadshow with my husband and didn't want to get everything out that I would like to work in my sketchbook. So I just limited it to a couple of colors and a couple of markers and just kind of doodled, so. Oh God, there's more.
Yes. I guess I should say I gave you guys 2 slides each,
yeah.
so.
No, that's good. I'm cool with it. Okay, so this is kind of a reflection of a lot of the more, I don't know, commercial stuff that I do. So a few years ago, I was approached by a brand called Saba. They're a shoe company based out of New York. They have a location in Austin, and they wanted me to paint shoes for them for different events. And as a result, it's led to a lot of interesting work that I've gotten to do. This was for the jackets for a company called Almadel Jaguar. It's a tequila company, and they wanted a custom jacket painted for an event they were doing with Imogene and Willie. The shoes up top are from a collaboration with PBS and Austin City Limits. So I was painting shoes for all of the performers on this season of Austin City Limits. And this pair was painted specifically to go in the PBS archives. The bottom one, I don't know how well you can see that, but that's one of the murals that I've done. I do murals pretty regularly. You can see it a little more up top there. And then the bottom right is this, another one of my paintings that I did for a show that I had back in May of last year. So yeah, that's
Love
what I
it,
got.
love it.
Yeah.
I love that you touched on creating art. It gives you like therapy, but it's not just for the creator, it's for everyone else that you create for as well. It's like it's this outlet that you're building for someone else, this world that people can escape into when they're feeling, you know, in the dumps or anything, or whatever they want to feel, they can alter it, and you guys are the creators for that. So I love that. All right, Caleb. CD.
Yes. All right.
Let's talk about your work.
You have two pieces here. Also, those two pieces are in the back corner over here. These are my most inspirational, sentimental pieces. So the first one is going to be here. It's going to be called Juneteenth. So the name Juneteenth and then TEETH is capitalized. So as you see, there's a grill back there. My medium, I like to experiment a lot. So I'll get rhinestones, I'll get scraps, I'll get aluminum foil, and just create beyond my canvas. But long story short, Juneteenth is an inspiration piece from my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? He unfortunately passed away, but he was a painter as well. So he was the person in my family that was creative. He was painting homes, he was painting on canvases, and he inspired me to, like, you know, you can do these things. Also, I come from a military background. I've been a military brat. If anybody has been in military family, military brat, you know that it's a lot of experimenting and it's a lot of moving. Everything is temporary. So there's a lot of things that's going on within this canvas, but it just gives me, you know, remembrance of him. And then also you see the big eye. I just want you to see the bigger picture beyond colors and lines. And then the second one is called Demonstration instead of Demonstration. This one is very sentimental to me because this represents the relationship me and my fiance have. So
I assume that's the fiance right there. Right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so with this one, it was very, you know, I had to do something that resembles us. So with this piece is Demonstration. As you can see, there's denim jeans in the background, it's denim scraps. And the hands, it just describes when I'm having a bad day or anything of that nature, when she's around or she's talking to me or she's just touching me on my shoulder, she gives me peace. And I wanted it to relate to everybody outside that my relationship or a loving relationship that you have with anybody that you know, have significant love for always feels like a good pair of denim jeans. You know, it's gonna be long lasting.
I love that.
It's gonna be long lasting, and you know, half of that, as you can see with these pieces, that I kind of correlate my clothes, my fits with these pieces. So, and I used to do fashion. So I used to be running runways. I was in New York Fashion Week of 2023. So I did a lot of things within this creative space, but yeah, these two pieces are like one of my favorite pieces, my most sentimental pieces, and you know, yeah, I like them.
Yeah, that's cool. I like how you're matching to each canvas too.
Yeah,
Gotta stay on point, you know.
right. Yeah. Okay, so this one on the left side is called Minority Delusion. I made this in 2025. I made this last year around April. And it kind of resembles what minorities as black men, for me, are really experiencing and going through in America, or just anywhere in a sense. So what we focus on or what we entertain is women, drugs, money, and the replication of religion. So, and you see in the background it's an American flag, and as you can see, he has on a prison uniform with handcuffs in his arms. And if it's a little bit more detail, it's the pinkies are broken. There's a lot of broken promises that we done had in America since we got here. And so really what we tend to do is we're more so materialistic in a sense. So we more care about a lot of things that don't revolve around us or revolve around our families or revolve around that something that actually matters when we leave this earth. And this is kind of a replication of it's not what it's not what you do on this earth, it's who you impact when you're gone. And so it's a lot of sunshines and rainbows, but at the end of the day, we all have our struggles. The one in the middle is called Crooked Conscience. And this is really like within me as an artist when I first started. This is like my second painting that I did. I've been doing painting for 2 years. So this is my second painting that I did, and it kind of resembles what I was going through at that time. I had a crooked conscience. I had a left side and I had a right side. It was good and bad. And it was kind of like I was trying to balance it all, but it was more so of you either going to do good or you're either going to do bad. So that's where it came from. And then also, like I said, I do grills. I love grills. I love teeth and whatever the case may be. And it's crooked, but it also looks nice. It has a rhinestone touch to it. It has a sparkling touch to it. And then this one on the right, I call this one Taylor Port Junkie. Around 2022, 2023, I was a big fan of Taylor Port. This is when my grandfather passed away, so a different way. A lot of people grieve in totally two different ways. I grieved in not speaking to anybody, which it was terrible, but people grieve in different areas of their life. And I had Taylor Port bottles just rambling around, and it got to a point where how you have certain bottles and you could play music with them and all that stuff. That's how many bottles that I had. And I looked at them. I was just like, man, I gotta change. Something has to change, because sitting in that grief, days move on. The sun comes out, the moon comes out, and if you're still in that spot, you're gonna be stuck forever. So I use this in terms of and it sold and it did all of that stuff, but more so my motto from that was I turned my pain into profit. You can't stay in your pain for long because you got to heal it. There's a physical therapy for a reason, to stretch out your bones and the soreness and everything so you can be healed. So this is where it comes from, and this is just a healing piece for me. So
yeah, I love that. I appreciate your vulnerability with all these pieces. I almost tucked my chain in when you start talking about the other one, though. So I know what you're talking about. So, and then we have our special guest, Cori Teague. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
So yeah, can you walk me through a couple of your pieces? And yes, you do have 2 slides, so.
Okay. Thank you. I will say, just because we're talking about being an artist and what that means, and I think we're going to touch on imposter syndrome and everything, I had said that I am the director for Affordable Art Fair, so I talk about other people's art so much, and I kind of get to lose talking about my own art. So this is really special to kind of revisit that, because it's been a while. As you can see, I work in figurative and a lot of geometric shapes, mostly nude women. I love nude men, but I am a little biased that nude women are maybe a little more beautiful. So with these 3 pieces, The very left one for you guys is a commission that I did in 2020. So you might be able to kind of see some references there of what's going on, but she's supposed to represent Mother Nature. She is the most clothed woman that I have painted, which also kind of represents a time where we were sheltered and closed off from our world, and Mother Nature is kind of like coming out of it, but at the same time, like very much put away. The middle one is my baby. This one is called Free Falling. I did a provocative art show that I curated and then also showed in at West Chelsea Contemporary. And I love using different colors in the human body and kind of just like creating these almost like alien-like figures. And I'm really just drawn to the like organic flow of a body and just like really how you can move it. I was really drawn to the Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci when I was in art history, and how the human body and geometric shapes kind of all correlate together. So that's why you see that a lot in my work. And these triangles represent, my dad had passed in 2019, and so each triangle represents my brother and I. And Free Falling by Tom Petty was a song that my dad had for us. So it was just kind of like representational of all of that, but I love this painting. And then after that, I tend to, when we're grieving, I tend to kind of burn down my life in the best way possible. I just like to mask it by partying with my friends for as long as possible.
Don't we all, though?
I mean, it's not a bad grieving process, but it does kind of put you at your end. So this is Dancing with the Devil. The gold halo represents the Renaissance and holy figures and how they represented them at that time. And you can see how it then moves into a red palette once it crosses that line, and it's kind of like how you dance with the devil when you are pushing yourself to your edge. So actually on the back of this canvas are all of my girlfriends' names that were burning it down with me at that time.
That's so funny because like my designers, at least Navy's here, I would say that to them all the time, like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go dance with the devil in the pale moonlight tonight. So
There you go. Yep.
But yeah, I love how you do like the fluidity of like the body and like the juxtaposition of like the geometric shapes is so amazing and stands out so well.
Thank you.
And then just last slide to talk about, what you do here. So.
What I do. This is my 9 to 5, but by 9 to 5, I mean my 24/7. So we launched Affordable Art Fair here 3 years ago. This will be our 3rd edition coming up this May 14th through 17th. I think just like instead of just like talk about has anybody been? Raise your hand. Okay, a few people. Ooh. Great. Well, if you would like to, I can send you guys VIP tickets after this if you come up to me. But what Affordable Art Fair does is it makes art accessible to everybody. We work predominantly with galleries and sometimes artist collectives, but we want to work with living artists and artists within their craft now, and we work with galleries so that they can make artist money so the artists can then create while they're in their most creative flow state, if you will. So I'm really passionate about that area of the contemporary art world. And I'm really passionate about doing it here in Austin, where I've grown a home for 10 years and been an artist and in the industry. But again, we're talking about like being an artist. Sometimes it's hard to be a full-time artist, as we know. And I do firmly, firmly believe that if you pour 100% into your art, you will get something out of it. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, but you absolutely can do it. And I was never not going to be in the art industry. I live and breathe it. And so even when I'm not creative or not in a creative flow, like I'm very fortunate every single day to be able to work with artists who are able to do that. So I'm very fortunate to be able to be here growing this industry in Austin with you guys. And I hope to see you guys all there at the fair in May.
Yes, and I have a slide about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit too, because there are some things here on the table that we will.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look, there's flyers.
Yep, we got some flyers here for you. Cool. So yeah, that's everyone here. We're just going to dive into a couple questions, and we can just do like rapid fire, just going down. Whoever wants to answer, like we can just do that. Okay. Cool. So let's start with the first question. Walk us through what happens when you start a new piece, and where does it usually begin for you?
We got to take her.
Okay, yeah.
Can you ask that question
We'll
one more
figure it
time
out.
for me, please?
Yes. Walk us through what happens when you start a new piece, and where does it usually begin for you?
It starts off with my experiences in my life. Like I said, I was a military child, so I done moved every 2 years of my life, and I'm only 26. So I done been all over the world. I done met new people. So it really starts from there. And then I go into writing off the titles of my pieces first. So once I write the titles of my pieces first, then I know, like, all right, cool. This is where I'm going to start off, and this is how I'm going to do this. And then I go back into my experiences. Let's say I was like 8 years old. From the first time I put on roller skates. I got a piece that has a roller skate on the face and all that stuff. So that's where I start off as, just past experiences, and then music, movies, whatever I needed to do. That's how I started. So
Cool. Jess?
That one's a little bit more difficult for me to answer because I feel like every piece I starts in a different way as I explore what works for me and what doesn't. But it is heavily influenced on what's happening at the time, circumstance. If I have this idea that I'm excited about and I want to execute, if I'm feeling very passionate or emotional about something like some of the pieces I described. Yeah, I'm still figuring out that process. Sometimes I don't realize what I'm painting until I'm like halfway through or like a third of the way through, and then I just like I feel something or thoughts will come through, and then kind of like what Caleb was saying, CD, that I will create this intention and kind of give the piece a title in my head, and then it kind of helps me have this more intentional goal in front of me, and then I'll just get more excited and I'll explore how I want to represent that in my piece. But to answer that, it's always different for me. Yeah.
Do you want me to answer it too, or?
I mean, do you want to answer it?
I mean, yeah, yeah, sure. I'm like, I didn't know if you were gonna move on,
You're
or
just
if
like,
you want-
yeah.
Yeah, I've realized over the years that I tend to work super intuitively with fine art, which is interesting because I work in design systems during the day, which is very not necessarily intuitive, but it's very like logic based. And so when I'm sitting down to do something, I don't know, like I'll get like ideas that just seemingly come out of nowhere, and it's like, I have to make this right now. Like I have to stop everything I'm doing and go at least capture the idea either in my sketchbook or like actually physically make it. So it's very impulsive, but it tracks with having ADHD. So yeah, that kind of tends to be my starting point, is like if something just strikes me, it's like capturing it in some way. But then also my husband and I do something called creative nights every Tuesday night, where like doesn't matter what's going on, like Tuesday nights we kind of go our separate ways and do creative things. And sometimes I'm like, I had a really long day at work, I don't want to make anything, but I'll force myself to sit down with my sketchbook, or I'll like watch a video that feels really inspiring. But just kind of having that like regular practice as a starting point has been super helpful.
That's cool. Sharon?
So I guess when I sit down to create, it's hard for me to just come up with things, which I'm sure everyone is the same. So I have random ideas that will pop into my head just all the time. So I actually keep in my notes on my phone, I have a list of ideas. Whenever I have an idea, I'll write it down, have multiple notes, and then I'll go through and I'll find them. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. And I need to be better at having a sketchbook. I used to do that because I know it's super helpful. And I tend to be, in my work, kind of a perfectionist. So I think having that practice to really be playful with your work will help your creativity, and I need to be better about that. But sometimes I get ideas, right when I'm about to fall asleep. That's usually when they hit me. even like color schemes will pop into my head. So I have to immediately get my phone and put it in there, before I forget, because I'll wake up in the next morning and it'll be gone. As far as just getting inspired, looking at nature, animals, we have a lot to choose from at our house. So, yeah, that helps me. And getting out into nature and walking and drawing from that.
I feel the same way because, like, whenever I, like, produce music or, like, some art piece comes to my head, I'm like, oh, man, it's always at, like, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I have to get up. I have to write this down real quick because I need to do this in the morning. And if I don't, it's gone in, like, 5 minutes. Cori?
I don't know. I don't know. Where does inspiration come from? For me, the body obviously is a very attractive thing for me. So if I see a position that speaks to me, me personally, I struggle with being vulnerable. And so I love how deep you guys can get with your art, because I would love for mine to do that for me. And I have to make it pull it out of me sometimes. But where I have found inspiration recently is in like very contemporary artwork and artists. I'm really drawn to the way that people can express what they're feeling in such unique ways. And like when I'm able to like get myself in there and be like, ooh, this is what they're saying, or this is what they're thinking, or this is what I'm thinking during that. And being able to get out into the U.S. this past year and see different art fairs and different installations in different cities has really inspired me in that way.
Cool. I actually have a segue question for that. Do you also feel like when you create a piece, do you want people to understand what you're creating, or do you want them to create their own world out of it?
Always create your own world.
Cool.
We're all so individual that it would be impossible unless but even artwork that's just text, you can interpret it in your own way. Otherwise, why have art if they're telling us what to think?
That's true. Cool. Jess, I got a question for you. Do you ever look at your own work and feel like it's not good enough? And if so, how do you push through that?
Well, a lot of the times, many times, yes, absolutely. There can be a lot of insecurities in your artwork, and sometimes when that starts to happen, it's usually a clue that I need to take a step back, walk away. Maybe I've been in like a four-wall room for too long, and I might be forcing something that's not feeling natural anymore. And yeah, when that happens, I think going out in nature like helps me a lot, just because I just draw so much creativity from like creation around us. And sorry, were there two parts to that question? Can you ask it again?
Yeah, how do you push through? How do you push through?
Yeah, I have to walk away. That way I can find that intention again. Because oftentimes when I'm working on a piece, there's an intention there or a feeling there. And giving myself space to feel that again, then I get that urge like, oh, I feel what I need to express or how I want to express. Let's go back to the drawing board. And then a lot of the times, if there's like what's helped me like in the past years, if I had like a big block, is going to galleries and seeing other art. The Affordable Art Fair was one of my favorite things last year. I remember that day very vividly because I just drew so much inspiration from all these different works of art and ideas and methods, and not knowing what the artist is communicating and coming up with my own story. And yeah, so taking a step back and like looking outside of myself helps.
Cool. CD, same question.
Yes and no. It's kind of like a motivational type of thing, because you have to make yourself feel like, okay, this piece is gonna touch somebody's heart. Like for me, I already know once I touch these pieces and once I paint these pieces, I already know it's gonna be a conversation starter. If I see somebody looking at my piece for more than 30 seconds, I got them where I want them. Because they could imagine something, they could look at, because it's different things. It's like weird. Think of different things that you could stare at. It's like, why do you have this big eye? Why is it like squares all over the place? And those questions will help me express more, because I'm not like a talkative person. This is probably the most that I've ever talked in front of a crowd at all. So
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so I'm very like within myself, and if you understand, then you understand. But this gives me the opportunity to express who I feel, how I feel, who I am as a person, and inspire somebody to do what they would love to do, express how they would feel, and just be themselves. So.
Love that. Laura, I'm going to ask you a different question. Okay. How do you handle comparison, seeing other artists' work and feeling like yours doesn't measure up?
Oh man, it's like all part of the imposter syndrome, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I've struggled with my like entire career, and oftentimes just kind of getting outside perspective from other people in my life. Like just asking for feedback on things has been really helpful. But yeah, I mean, I think it's so easy to look at other people's work and compare yourself, and you have to realize that like your art is you, and so like everybody's work is going to look different, and like you don't want your work to look like somebody else's. You don't want to compare your work to what someone else is doing, because then you're just making someone else's work, right? Yeah, and I even had kind of a little bit of that imposter syndrome just like a week or two ago when I was hanging some work for a show, and I had was bringing the work in, and I was just like, I don't feel good about these. Like, I don't think they look very good. And like, I saw other people's work and it looked great. But as soon as I got up on the wall, I like said to David, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, yeah, I'm like, I like them. So, yeah, like sometimes it's like kind of getting a different perspective on your own work, and just remembering kind of like why you're making in the first place. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing.
Yeah, I agree. I you know me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get like that sometimes too, so.
For sure.
Especially with this event, I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, so but here we
You're
are.
doing it, man. It's great.
Appreciate it. Sharon and Cori, same question.
Can you repeat it?
Yes.
I mean, I know the gist of it.
How do you handle comparison and seeing other artists' work, feeling like yours doesn't measure up?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely struggle from that. It's probably why I haven't done what I really wanted to do for years, because I was afraid. So that held me back. I guess, I don't know. I heard this from someone before. Like, if you are jealous of someone else's work, or you're envious of what someone else is doing, that's like a clue to what you should be doing yourself. So I try to maybe look at it that way. Feel a little, like I'm not measuring up, or a little jealousy. I feel like that's something I need to work on, that will only make my work better, I guess.
Gotcha.
I think there's something, isn't like comparison's the root of all evil? Is that, did I make that up? Okay. That's a thing. Okay. So yeah, I do firmly believe in that, because if you are an artist that's creating, you have something that other people don't have just to begin with. And it's such a beautiful thing. I also believe that being an artist is like the craziest thing in the world, because it's the most confident and the most insecure that you can be in one moment. Me personally, it's like you could never, like, there's one part of me that's like, you could never insult me as an artist, because I'm like, well, I'm creating this. Like, how could you insult me? And then there's the other side that's, you put it on a wall, and I hide behind the wall, because I'm like, I don't want to know what people think about this. I'm terrified. So I think it's good to compare yourself in a way if you're wanting to learn, but no matter how good or bad you are as an artist, or think that you are as an artist, like, you already are a step ahead in life just by using your hands or your mind to create something.
Yeah, I also want to piggyback on that. I feel like social media definitely plays a huge part on that too. You're not creating for yourself sometimes, because if you're stuck in the mindset of like, oh, I'm creating to like get exposure or likes, and I got to make sure people like this, and if they don't, I suck. I need to like bury myself under my pillow or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think everything that you guys said is like, you guys are creating for yourselves. Just make what you do. Like, everyone has their own style, so yeah, keep creating. CD. What does a bad creative day actually look like for you, and what do you do with it?
A bad creative day. Okay, so this is funny. So a couple months back, me and my fiance was just sitting in the crib, and she was doing her thing, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is not normal. Where's a canvas? Like I need a canvas sitting in my face right now, because I do a lot of big canvases. I don't necessarily do like small canvases. My first time doing a small canvas like probably a month ago. And so like a bad creative day is no big canvas in front of me. Really figuring out which painting I want to paint first. Like I said, I write out my titles first. So I have a whole list of them, and I just thinking to myself, I'm like, which one can I do first? Because if I do this one, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm like, man, I should have did this one, or I should have did this one. And really, I'm very, like, it's overwhelming. So a bad creative day for me is like overwhelming, trying to figure out which canvas do I want to paint first, honestly. And how I go about it, I flip a coin. So I pick out which one would be best first for me, and then if those two goes, heads this one, tails that one, and then we'll just go right off the back and just start it off like that. So.
Cool. I need to invest in coins. Jess, same question, and then Laura after that.
Yeah, I think there's two answers to that also for me. It's like when I feel this creative urge and I want to be in front of a canvas and I can't because of life, circumstance, whatever, that was many, many years for me. And it's like that urge just sits inside of you. It'll just kind of fester a little bit. I think that's like the worst creative day, when you just can't have it. And then the second worst is when you have a goal, and kind of what I was speaking to earlier, you have a goal and intention and something you want to express, but maybe I'm forcing it. Like, maybe I'm trying to make something for something by a certain time, and I'm in my studio for 4 hours, and I've spent like 30 minutes of it actually painting, and it's like, okay, I need to get out of here. I'm forcing this, and it's not feeling natural right now. So that's probably the second worst creative day for me.
Cool. Laura?
I think for me, it's when I have an idea that I really want to capture in some way, and it's just the idea is not translating onto the canvas or whatever I'm working on. And it can be really frustrating because it's like the idea is, there's like a gap between the idea and the ability to execute on it. And I often think of the Ira Glass quote, which is long and I'm not going to quote it, but basically saying you have to make a lot of really bad shit before you make anything good. And I see you guys nodding your head, so I think some people are familiar with that. And I love that quote because I often find that when I have those days where I make something that I'm like super unhappy with, I don't force it. I just kind of like, I'm going to leave it alone. And I'll either come back to it later or I'll never come back to it. But what I often find is in those moments, it's like, that's where I'm learning the most. It's revealing things for me that I need to either kind of learn about or do differently. And yeah, so like those sort of like bad creative days, I tend to use as a good learning moment.
I love that. Cori, I have a question for you. How long did it take before you felt like you had your own style? And did it feel deliberate or did it just click one day?
Okay, I really like this question because it took me 5 seconds to find my style, but then I've never been able to get off of it, and that has been my problem as an artist and evolving as an artist. I had found art at such a kind of late phase in my life, and so I had a painting teacher that said, like, I found figurative and geometric shapes, and she's like, "This is your thing, stick to it." And I started working in a gallery to feel caught up from all the other artists in the room. And so I wanted to learn how to become a professional artist. And my mentor at the time said the same thing of like, if you find what sells, keep doing it. And I feel like it pigeonholed me a little bit because then that's what I just kept creating. And granted, I love it. I always find myself always moving towards the human body. But when I'm having bad creative days, it's been difficult because my mind gets so stuck in what I think I should be painting instead of evolving as an artist. So it fortunately happened very fast for me, but then I think it also stunted me as an artist as well.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Whenever I started making music, I had a mentor that was teaching me a couple things with the new program or using Ableton, and the way he structured things made me feel like my creativity was lost. It felt like very structured and very cut and dry, and I struggle with that still to this day, that I'm still hearing him in the back of my head like, that 4/4 should be like on 2 and 6. I'm like, what are you talking about? so yeah, I totally vibe with that. Sharon, same question.
I have not found my style.
I beg to differ.
I'm still searching, I feel like. I guess I kind of have it. I don't know. I feel like I'm going back in time a little bit, like reverting back to childhood somewhat. So I think that's probably where everyone's creativity really comes from. You dig back to your past and, the memories as a child and the happiness, from those days. And I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of maybe reverting back a little bit. So, but it's still, it's a work in progress. So, still searching.
I mean, I feel like nostalgia is always like a staple in everyone's creative process. Mm-hmm. So, we go back to comfortability. So, Jess, I want to ask you that same question too.
Beep boop bop. Oops, they're still. It's funny because a lot of people tell me that I have a style. Like they're like, you totally have a style, and I see it. Maybe like in my brushstroke work, and like I like to pair abstract with realism and have this like ethereal nature to some of my pieces. But I personally don't feel like I have a style, and I think a lot of that comes from constantly learning. I've met some incredible friends over the past year that have taught me a lot about art and have brought me to like figurative painting and portrait painting and things that I've never done before, and I really want to explore, and learning the way colors mix and how to if I should do an underlayer, like just what to do. And so like now I found myself kind of doing a little bit of an offshoot and exploring other things right now. And so I haven't landed on a style, and I am starting to be okay with that because I constantly feel like I need to have a style. But yeah, the exploration is so fun, and I like the learning, and yeah, so maybe I'll have a style at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, you totally have a style. I think we all know that she has a style here.
I have a style.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just coming from working in, advertising and corporate world for so many years, I feel like that contributed to me not really having a style because you kind of adapt the clients that you're working on. So now that I'm not doing that anymore, I feel like it's just starting over. So if you're not doing the sketchbook, like Laura was saying, do that. And I need to start doing that too, because I think it helps you find your style faster in doing work every day.
I feel like I definitely struggle with that because all I'm doing is creating for other people and not for myself. And also there are sketchbooks back there, so if you guys want one, go see your bartender. Okay, Laura.
Yes.
Do you want to answer the same question? Or do you want to?
I'll answer that one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Because this is like something that I've struggled with for a long time, because I, for many years, felt like I didn't have a style, and I think it's partly because I have really enjoyed exploring different things. But it's so funny because whenever I say that to people, they're like, "What? No, you totally have a style." So much so that like people will send me stuff and be like, "I saw this thing and it like kind of looks like something you would make," and I'm like, "Oh, it does." And I'm like, "Okay, so like I do have something recognizable." And so I think it's really interesting that like sometimes other people can see it more than you can see it yourself. But it's also in the like sort of recent years that I've discovered things from my childhood that have really influenced my style. This is like always kind of funny and a little cringy to me, but when I was a kid, we were visiting, I think it was North Carolina, and we went to the House of Blues, which is like it's like a fucking rock and roll Hall of Fame or a cafe, whatever, like like it's like a rainforest cafe or something. Hard Rock Cafe, yeah. But they had a lot of like sort of like outsider and folk art in there, and I had just like never been exposed to that before. I feel like there isn't a lot of that in New England. I mean, there is, but it's like not what is put in your face. And I was just like so taken by this one piece. It was like, it was made out of bottle caps, but I was like, whoa, like I've never seen anything like this before. And it really led me down this path that I didn't even realize I was on until very recently, where I've just been so influenced by folk art, by outsider art, by naive art. And it's something that I'm really trying to pay attention to now, and make sure I'm kind of incorporating into what I'm doing. So,
sweet. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. How would you define folk art?
Great question. So, I think that like naive art and outsider art and even folk art are typically, I think historically have been defined as people without like a formal education in art. But I find that type of art way more interesting because, and maybe this is a product of like having gone to art school, but I found that art school was really frustrating because somebody would like show up to a critique with like a bucket of cement and be like, "This is a thing I made." And everyone's like, "Wow, that is so profound." And you're like, it's a bucket of cement. And like, but you know, so much of art can be like bullshitting and storytelling. And like, there's not necessarily a problem with that, right? But I think that I just was faced with so much of that in art school that I really just wanted to like make a thing that was a thing, that was like an actual thing that was useful, or like that you understood it. And what I love about folk art is that it's people are creating like from their heart and like from this need and desire to create, and not from this need to bullshit you in a way and like have this like huge story about something that it's like they made it because they liked it. And like, sure, there's folk art that has, you know, deep meaning, but I just think there's something so pure and real and raw about folk art that just speaks to me more than really any other type of art. So
I made a cement block one day, and I call it art. So
good for you, man. I'm proud of you.
Okay. Let's do CD. How much does outside feedback, like sales, criticism, content creation, affect how you feel about your work?
Honestly, since I've started art, I haven't got any like bad feedback so far. So it kind of gives me like the motivation to, you know, go harder. Sometimes I do feel like I haven't gone hard enough as I should, but you know, when somebody tells me, "Man, that's great, like you did something so crazy." For example, yesterday I was at a game show for an art studio, and they gave us 30 minutes to create something. This is my first time that I ever created something in 30 minutes. So when I did that, it was a lot of anxiety built in me. So when that 30 minutes came up, I'm looking at the piece. I'm like, it could go, but I'm not done with it yet. But everybody in the background is like, bro, I love this. I need it. What is it called? 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So when I get feedback like that, it just gives me a push and a motivation. It's like, okay, cool. This is where I'm at. This is what God has called me to do. It doesn't seem like I'm trying too hard. It just, I feel like I'm in my own lane. When you driving on the left side of the lane and there's nobody on those two right sides, you driving free. And you feel safe. You feel comfortable. So really it does affect me a little bit, but not in a bad way. It just gives me a push, a motivation. It's like, you know what, you need to grind harder. Just put your shoes on, tie 'em up. That's all you need to do.
That's so funny because me and my two friends over here that helps run this whole thing, we try to do this thing called Beat the Clock, where we do like 10 minutes of like full creativity. You have to make a full song within like 10 minutes, regardless. You have like, there's no stopping. And then at the end of 10 minutes, we share it with each other. And we're like, okay, it's all right. It's decent. But I mean, sometimes it knocks. So it's pretty cool.
Right. Yes, sir.
But yeah, Jess and then Cori, the same question.
Was it like how it affects us, basically?
Yes, yeah.
Both, and I mean, you know, there's obviously a lot of insecurities as being an artist. Like Cori said, it's this crazy thing where you have moments of like so much confidence and then so much insecurity, like in the span of 5 seconds. And I would say I have learned to really appreciate criticism, especially some of the art friends that I've mentioned recently. It's been so nice to hear other people's perspective in my art and hear what they see and what they think that I'm communicating or what they're interpreting. That usually just inspires me, and it's like, oh, okay, there's a voice here. Let me see how else I want to go with it. When it comes to like social media and content and stuff like that, I mean, I think, yeah, it can sometimes be toxic to the soul because the constant comparison, it's like where sometimes I ask myself, where am I going with this? Am I pushing this to be like, I am thankful to be able to have like a job where I'm able to afford making art. And if I didn't have my job, I don't know how I would make it work with the art. I know it would require, I don't know what it would look like to go 100% full in. The idea of that sounds really exciting and scary. So sometimes I ask myself, where am I going with this? I would love for it to go further. And I think when there's like social media posts, like in getting noticed online, the pressure kind of builds. And so it affects me in both ways. Adds to the insecurity, but it also inspires me, I guess. Yeah.
Yep, totally agree with that.
Okay, so we're talking like critique and negative feedback and how it affects us.
All the things.
All the
Critiques,
things.
content creation, likes, shares, all the things.
Life advice. So I guess this wasn't really a critique, but just a rejection. But I learned to paint at Baylor, and nude women and Baylor University don't really go together. And for my senior show, they wouldn't let me show my pieces publicly because of the nudity. And it was like, hey, you're great, we love you, but we're not going to do this because of XYZ. And they did it in front of an entire critique room. And I turned around in my swivel chair and then walked out of the room. And I felt like a martyr in a way, because then it was this whole battle of like, oh, then if we can't be painting nude women, then who are we as artists, and censorship and blah, 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 blah. And it was a very difficult period as an artist to feel accepted, especially in the infancy of my career in that. But it also was a driving force to continue to create and also create things that make people uncomfortable. My next critique was an entire nude portrait of myself, so that went over well. It's like, guess who that is? But at the same, so like that's like the rejection side of it. But critique-wise, like now being an adult in the industry, I miss that creative feedback from people. Because because sometimes you need someone to look at that and be like, that looks like a dolphin and not a human, just to get other eyes on it. And I don't think it ever needs to be a negative thing. Again, like I said earlier, if you're creating, you're a badass, so just do your thing. But I do think that we're missing an element of those critique rooms as adults, artists.
Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. We have just one last question, and then we'll go into like Q&A. I have 2 Q&As from like that reached out to me, but last question for everyone. What are you working on right now, and what's next for you? Everyone loves that question.
I guess I'll start.
Yes.
I have the mic. I am working on just finding myself back to my craft. I, again, like I had said, had pigeonholed myself, so I'm really trying to pull myself into a creative world that is mine again. And so by doing that, I actually have started working with hand-dry clay and painting on that. It's something so unserious to me because I'm not putting the pressure on a canvas. I'm putting the pressure on something that I don't feel like people put pressure on before. And it's really allowed me to start using my hands again and just finding creativity in different ways. So really just kind of finding my voice back in the art industry. And then obviously 24/7, I'm thinking about the fair. So we have Austin coming up, and then we're launching Houston this year, which I'm running. And so that's a whole other project on top of all my other projects.
Sweet.
So I am, like I said before, I'm starting over, switching gears. I'm a student again, so diving back into that and just learning about the pattern design industry, and in my 50s. So that's fun and scary. But I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've been thinking about doing for probably more than 10 years, and just haven't done it for whatever reason, life. And but yeah, that's what I'm doing, and hopefully I'll be able to share more a year from now.
I'm proud of you.
So 2 things I've been working on. One is for the past few years I've been working sort of accidentally under like just my own Instagram handle, not really a brand. That Instagram account was never really meant to be kind of what it's grown into. And I have been doing a lot of different kind of creative things with painting, live painting at events, and doing murals and fine art. And so I've been working with my husband to build kind of a home for all of that. So we recently launched Lost Highway Collective, which is our new home essentially, and our brand for all of the work that I've been doing over the past few years. So that's been huge and it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to kind of, do more work and be able to advertise it and kind of, sell what we're doing in a more cohesive way. And then the project I just started on yesterday is I'm painting an acoustic guitar that I'm bringing with me out to Luck Reunion on Thursday. I'm going to be working with Austin City Limits. They're doing interviews of all of the musicians that come through, and so I'll be painting goods for the artists, the swag that they got. So bringing some of my art with me as well. So I wanted to have something that was representative of the event.
Cool.
That sounds cool. I'll come watch. I don't entirely know. I have been very moved. As you know, I love landscapes, nature. I have been moved by what's happening or potentially happening in Big Bend. And so I feel very motivated to possibly venture out into a series that showcases Big Bend and how beautiful it is. I don't know exactly how I want to express that and how my voice will come through in that series, but I that's kind of been swirling in my head. I kind of dabbled and started a new piece this past week. It's more of like a abstraction version of the landscape of Big Bend that I have in my head, because I have had one magical trip there, and so it's like near and dear to my heart, and I don't want its beauty to be demolished. So TBD on where that goes.
Well, this month, either this month or next month, I do have a art show coming up at the New East Arts Gallery. I'll be prepping for that show as well. And also I want to work on, like, I want to kind of get into film. Honestly, I really have a story to tell. Because a lot of people that been around military and stuff like that, they don't really get to express it until like they probably get older or something like that, or nobody has really a relation towards them. So I really have a story to tell within my pieces, what I have in my life. So I wanna do a therapy session filmed called "Tell Me Something I Don't Know." So it's really just a telling you something that you really don't know about me. You could look at me, you could look at my paintings. Oh, this is cool, but you don't know that I play drums or I've been in music pretty long time. I know how to sew. Like it's just certain things that I want to tell y'all that's revolving around my art. So I have that, and then also I want to get back into clothes as well. So I want to conduct a lot of art gallery shows, but also mixed in with the runway, wearable art in the middle of the runway. Just a lot of out of the box things that I want to do, and I feel like I could do it. So, yeah.
Well, you're surrounded by all creative, so it's all about building community. So yeah, just reach out to anybody. We're here for you. We're here for everyone. Yeah.
Can we bounce that question back off to you, or do you plan on getting to that?
I have some slides.
Okay,
coming up.
we'll get to it.
Yeah. I was gonna shamelessly plug myself at the end. So, but yeah, this is like the core message of what we're talking about. So like, there is no one path. What we're doing here, community matters, and you're allowed to pivot wherever you're at in life. So, just remember that. So yeah, we're on Q&As. I'm gonna read these two real quick, and then you guys can do like a quick answer, and then if anyone has any questions in the crowd, we can pass it off to. Okay, quick question. What would you tell your earlier self who was just starting out and feeling completely lost?
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it.
Little Shia LaBeouf, yeah.
I mean, okay, how about this? I wish I had someone tell me to get a notebook and just play around in it, get messy, and don't wait to touch whatever medium you want to touch until you have the perfect idea or the perfect execution plan. Don't let the canvases stay blank. Have something, allow yourself to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really just talking to myself, your story is not over with. God has a plan for you. Obviously you waking up every single morning, so the job is not finished. Just do it. Be patient. Take your time on things. Notice what you have around you and use it. Don't look at somebody else's stuff and be like, oh, I can get this, I can get an oil stick or whatever the case may be. Use what you use now and create it. If people gonna gravitate to it, people gravitate to it, but more so just be yourself. Like you said, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, it's just self-explanatory, really. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would echo the same thing, is just keep making stuff. Something that I wish I had started sooner, that really helped me several years ago, was the 100-Day Project, where you choose to do something creative every single day for 100 days, and you are going to create a lot of shit in that 100 days. But it doesn't matter, because what you end up with at the end of 100 days is such a fascinating body of work that you can really see the progression on. And so sitting down and just forcing the practice to happen every day, even when you don't want to, can really kind of send you in an entirely different direction. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Where to go? Oh, what would you tell your earlier self who was just starting out and feeling completely lost?
Okay. I think trust your gut. Even when you're, you think you don't know a whole lot when you're young, Or some kids now think that they do know everything. But anyway, just trust your gut and do what you love, and I think it'll point you in the right direction.
Cool.
So Ozzy Osbourne couldn't die until he did what he loved doing one last time. And if that doesn't show you that like your art should be something that like drives you through your life and is the last thing that you should be wanting to do before you die, like if that doesn't show you what your love is for your craft, then I don't know what could. So shout out Ozzy. But so I just to do it is it, but also like why stop doing it if you know the last thing you're going to want to do is that.
Love it. Yeah. Cool. All right, then one last question that I had on here. It kind of ties in as well, but like, what advice would you give someone just starting out who wants to develop their own visual style?
If you pour 100% in, you'll get 100% back.
Love that.
Same, but also if you can find a good mentor, someone that can teach you, it would kind of speed things up for you and help possibly open doors.
Keep a sketchbook and do the 100 Days Project. Another plug for that. And find people that you trust and get feedback from them. I think, as they say, feedback is a gift. So don't be afraid to ask for a critique.
Make connections with other creatives and just allow yourself the openness to change.
Go outside and touch some grass.
Yo, yes.
Find peace within yourself. Keep working. As far as finding your style, it's just like clothes. You're gonna wear a lot of things to find your style to keep yourself comfortable within your clothing. So really, just wear a lot of stuff, work on a lot of stuff, sketch a lot of stuff, get a sketchbook, and just keep working. That's really it.
Cool. So before I let these artists go, is there any questions in the crowd that y'all want to ask? Oh, there's one.
Thank you. So for me personally, as a creative, I have a creative 9 to 5, but I also have a creative 6 to 9 is like how I like to say it. So for my 9 to 5, I have a lot of constraints and I have a lot of boundaries that I have to stay in, which really helps with my creative process. But when I'm out of my 9 to 5, I don't have those boundaries and I don't have those limitations, which sometimes might sound a little weird, but it kind of makes it a little difficult for me to move forward because it's like, oh, the world's open, you can do what you want. And for me, I'm a ceramicist, I work with clay. You can really just make whatever you want. It's kind of just like an open free ball. So yeah, like how would you work through that, not having constraints, and like how do you find that like path that you want to go down without having constraints and just everything being open? How do you do that?
I would give yourself constraints. Start there. You know, in design, they often say, make the rules to break the rules. And yeah, and I'm always telling my designers to like, if you have a constraint, find the edges of that constraint, because oftentimes in that moment of having that constraint, you're like, well, wait, actually, I do have an idea. I do want to do this thing. So, you know, maybe say like, I'm only going to work in this color palette for the next few weeks, or I'm only going to work with this material, or I'm only going to do like hand building, you know, as opposed to throwing on the wheel or something. Find some kind of constraint, because more times than not, you're going to find that you want to break that and allow yourself to break it, right? Go after that thing, but sometimes this is a good starting point.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, there was someone behind you, I think, that had a question.
Oh, hi. So I'm Crystal. I consider myself an emerging figurative artist. I relate a lot, I guess, to Cori. I also find myself, it's hard to be vulnerable and like open up about your process and your background and everything. And I'm just wondering, Carrie, if you would recommend trying to like apply to stuff like affordable art fair or galleries. I find myself being very overwhelmed with just like the amount of paths that a figurative artist can take. Social media, fairs, galleries, I don't know, just any tangible advice, I'd say it would be helpful.
Yeah. There's so many different avenues you can take. There's a vast world, and I hate that that's my response. But again, to my response of when you pour 100% in, you get 100% out. And I know that seems like a fluffy thing to say, but it does really help to get out there and network and meet people. The Austin art community is incredibly small, and what's so beautiful about that is you can find your home, and you can find your avenue, and you can find the people that want to help you. The gallery world is small, the artist world is small. So going and meeting those galleries and those gallerists and getting yourself and your work out there, and you can do self-promotion as well on social media, which helps. I know for figurative that's a little tough because they like to censor us sometimes. But really just like getting out into the community and finding your home that way. Some artists like to go the route where they are self-employed. I personally like the gallery route. I'm a little biased, but I prefer the gallery route because I think that people that work in that world need to be doing the work for you so that you can stay the creative and stay the confident one doing what you're doing and doing your craft, and not doing a full-time job of making yourself your marketer and your salesperson and your social media person. Like, let someone else do that so that you can just be a creative. Now, there's the other side of that where sometimes we want control over what we're doing, and also you tend to make, you don't give as much away if you're not working with an artist or with a gallery. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that's not more of a direct like, hey, I think you should go here and do this, but just being here now is a step in the right direction. Go to gallery openings, go to the fair, meet people, just get your name out there.
Awesome, thank you so much.
What's up, hello, panel. I'm Ruben of Left Field Division, and appreciate you guys being here today. What is the one color you gravitate towards, and what does it mean to you on a deeper level?
So obviously I work with a lot of color, but I'm always drawn to cool tones. And I actually have this thing where I didn't like The Lion King because it was all warm tones. And I really liked Peter Pan and The Little Mermaid because it was cool tones. So I think that's just kind of like been some psychological thing my whole life.
I guess I'm a neutral type person. Earthy nature, probably.
I really like green, like different green tones. I really like the kind of pukey, gross greens too. And they show up a lot in my work in like, varying degrees. I don't know why. It feels very kind of, I don't know, deep, somewhere deep inside me. I'm into green. I like Kermit the Frog. I don't know.
Green's cool. Green is cool. I mean, not cool. It's a cool tone also, but it's like a calming thing. I absolutely love like the color coral, like the color you see in sunrise, sunset. It's just like, it's just so mesmerizing. I want to work with more neutrals because I absolutely love just looking at a neutral palette, but I always find myself going kind of extreme with color. But yeah, the corals, I guess.
I like melanated colors, but as you can see in my paintings, all colors, bright colors. Honestly, I love colors. Really, if I really want one, would be melanated, and then also I want to do like black and white tones. I really want to get into black and white tones now, so those are the type of colors that I love. So
Thank you for sharing.
I mean, and for me, I guess, I'm, as you can see, I'm just very vibrant. I guess it depends on like whatever mood I'm in, like I gravitate towards that color, especially when I'm making music. When I play a different note or a chord, it resonates a certain like color to me. So a lot of my music, it definitely has like a lot of blues and like rich yellows. But then I can go like really dark and have like black. So cool. Any other questions? Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of hands up.
This really isn't a question, but like I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you, Dad.
Oh, thank you.
I'm proud of all the things that you're doing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys for coming out.
I appreciate it. That's my daughter. She's also the bartender, so tip her well so I can get gas money.
Okay, I do have a question.
Okay.
I'm a musician, and so I've been labeled as a jazz musician by a lot of people, but I grew up, in jazz and R&B. So as a musician and a writer, I write in all different kinds of genres, from classical to jazz to R&B to funk to EDM. I do all kinds of different things. And I'm wondering about you as visual artists, when you're working with different mediums. I know writing music or playing music, it stretches me to do different mediums. How about you when you're doing visual art? Trying other mediums, does it stretch you in what you're doing, or how does it, or limit you?
Or? Absolutely, it does. It gives me a brighter idea of what I can do. For example, instead of doing acrylic painting, it will be solid, bold painting or solid, bold colors. Try oil pastels or try oil sticks for more detailing. So really it's just more mediums, more experiments, and then that's where you find which one that you love best or which one that you're more comfortable with. So really the best thing about it is experimenting every single part within art. So as long as you're experimenting, you're doing just fine.
Yeah. So I've had this theory for a while about artists that you fall into like one of two categories. One is you like have your medium and you become like an expert and you go super deep in that medium, and like maybe you like, if it's painting with oils, it's like maybe there's like a lot of different like subject matter. But then the other side, I think people like tend to have like a subject matter that they go really deep on, and it's like everything is related to that, but they explore a bunch of different mediums like across that subject matter. And I think I fall into that kind of like second category, because like I'm so curious about things and I want to try stuff out, and like again with the ADHD, like novelty is very important. So for me, like I think it's really important for me to just try a bunch of different things, and see what that kind of opens up. But I think on the flip side, I think there are people who it's like they find their medium, they do their thing, and like that's it for them. But I do always think it's important to kind of like push outside of that too.
Cool. I think we have room for one more question. Anybody?
Yes, me.
Oh.
Right here.
Okay, there you are.
So I was curious, and this question might make you uncomfortable or off topic, but you had mentioned earlier that you created, you took 10 minutes to create a musical piece. I want to hear what it sounds like.
I will have to dig for it. It's somewhere. I'm pretty sure Ruben over here probably has something. But yes, I will find it and ship it to you.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? Oh.
Inside the home. Inside the home, outside. Really, for me, inside the home, a TV with a lot of videos just playing. So it's just like going back from when you was a kid getting ready for school. I always had on MTV Jams. I always had a rerun of 106 and Park on because it's gonna make me feel good once I go into that school or whatever I wear, whatever. So music videos, and then just inside the home, what I have inside my home, and then I just build off of that.
I have learned that I need a dedicated space that I can feel like is my space, a space that I can get dirty, messy, and walk away from it and come back to it. And so right now, I have a studio space at a art complex called Art Hub, and that's been very, very helpful in me getting back on my creative journey. But yeah, it's gotta be like my space.
I have a dedicated studio at our house. I always loved the idea of like having a studio space. It's like in a like building with other artists, but I'm such a homebody. Like the idea of like having to like leave my house to make work, I'm like, oh my God, what a nightmare. So like I really like admire people like you that like have that like external space and like you'll go and do it. 'Cause I know a lot of people need that. But yeah, I have like a dedicated studio at home that doubles as an office, and it's just covered with all different kinds of things that inspire me. It's, you know, it's a weird amalgamation of things. But if I liked it, if it's a little scrap of paper or it's a painting or whatever it is, it goes up on my wall somewhere.
I have a home office as well, but I try to keep it like a digital part, like a desk for digital work, and then another desk for more painterly and illustration type things. Doesn't kind of they cross over sometimes, but mostly I try to keep them separate.
I have a room, office, studio, second bedroom. I think it's really important to have a separate space, whether it's in your home or as a studio, to separate kind of your work-life balance of it. Somewhere that you can keep messy, somewhere that you can keep the paints out and just walk into and they're already there. I think there's nothing worse than having to clean everything up and then come back to it and have to unpack in a creative moment. So somewhere where you can really let that like have its own energy.
Cool. All right, I think we're going to stop at the questions because this is my first moderating time and we're way over time. So if you guys want to ask questions, we can like hang out after that. So I just gonna rush through this real quick. What's coming for Hella Artsy in 2026? We're working on a website, so we should have like a hub for you guys soon. We'll post like event photos to like upcoming events, and probably have like a member section at some point to where like if you have an event, we can post it for you and stuff like that too. We're going to try to turn this into like a podcast, so you can take this on the go, so you don't have to like come here and stare at me the whole entire time. You can just listen to my sultry voice. And then I kind of want to pass it over to Cori to talk about Affordable Art Fair real quick.
All right. Well, I've touched on it a little bit, obviously. So Affordable Art Fair, we're the largest art fair brand around the globe. We have 23 different editions in 18 different cities. In the U.S. alone, New York was our second fair in the company, and it's been around for 25 years. And we're based out of Europe, and we are very heavily focused there. And it's so easy to have an art fair and launch an art fair there because they don't remove art from their curriculum at such an early age. So it took a long time for us to expand into the U.S. to really find the right groove, because we don't breed art collectors here, which is so unfortunate. It's something that you need to grow an education of and for. So I'm so passionate about it because we get to teach people to appreciate art and appreciate living artists and grow the ecosystem from a community within, because community was a word here that we used a lot. And yeah, it's just, we're just making art accessible to everybody. If you know what Art Basel is, you walk in and nobody looks at you, and people buying artwork are all wearing on clouds, and it's a scary environment. But we make it to where we remove that stigma of art fairs, and let anybody in the door and make it so you're not scared to walk into an art fair, and you're not scared to purchase artwork, and you're not scared to learn about the artists. It's a really fun environment, and I'm just really proud of how Austin has shown up when we launched it 3 years ago, and it's growing. So yeah, this year we have 22 local participating galleries and collectives, which is huge. In year one, we had 17, so it's just growing. And we have galleries from Austin, Houston, Dallas, New York, LA, Australia, Spain. we have galleries from all over the world that participate in the fair, and so I highly recommend that you go to gain inspiration, to start your collection, to grow your collection, or even just start asking the questions to become a collector.
Sweet. And after this, come see me or Cori. We have some postcards, some tickets to give away. So yeah. Their show is coming up May 14th through 17th, so get ready for that.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, other than that, we have pop-ups, events from Left Field Division, and yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave. Thank you. I'm going to leave this up here, so like if you guys want to like follow every artist or our social and Left Field Division that's making the music, go in there and scan it. Other than that, just mingle, have a couple drinks, chill, relax. There are some little cards. You'll see these like on tables everywhere. If you're shy at talking to people, I made these little icebreaker cheat sheets which has like nine questions to ask people. So just mingle with people and see like who's gonna be your new best friend. All right, thank y'all, appreciate it.